Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to revisit my 2023 goals. They didn't go as planned at all. I was looking over both my reading goals and my like just general life goals, and they definitely didn't go as planned. This year turned out to be one of the busiest for me professionally that I think I've ever had in my life. So a lot of things that I could not have accounted for when I made my goals at the beginning of the year, and so the fact that I didn't accomplish most of these things really doesn't surprise me, and I don't feel sad or upset or disappointed in myself because I know what I accomplished this year, which was a lot. So I'll start with bookish goals, and my reading challenge of how many books I want to read is always the first one, which is 52. I did accomplish that. So far this year I've read 74 books, which is lower than previous years, but makes sense in the context of everything that I did this year, and also that just sometimes I really was just not in the mood to read, and that's fine. I didn't force it at any point, and I just sort of enjoyed the books that I did read this year. So yeah. And then the next one was to reduce my physical TBR down to 45 books. So when I started the year, I had 61 physical unread books. I currently have 61 physical unread books. So I didn't increase it, but it has stayed the same, and likely will go up just because I am gonna get some books for Christmas, or I'm going to buy some at the Barnes & Noble half-price hardback sale, and I'm not gonna read enough books to like counterbalance that. So there's that. I did, however, get to visit my favorite bookstore, Malaprop's, twice, and I visited definitely 2 new bookstores this year, those being in Portland. So, you know, 3 actually, because of Savannah, and then 4 if you count the one in the airport. So I visited new indie bookstores and spent money there, which I love. Yeah, so, you know, didn't accomplish this, but this is also a goal that I set for myself to just like continue to try to decrease that number, but I never want a 0 TBR, so I'm fine with this one. Next was to read at least 10 Animorph books this year, because the goal was like next year to finish the entire series. I knocked this out of the park and I finished the whole series. So I just got like in a mood, and I like binged the whole rest of the series on audio, which, by the way, makes that 75 books sound hilarious when you think that like probably 25 of those were Animorphs books. But whatever, I finished the series and I really enjoyed myself. Wasn't a real big fan of the final book. I think it was but in terms of just like, this was a goal that I have been working on for several years, to finally realize it and to get to like go with those characters that I have that have been endearing to me since I was a teenager, to like go with them through the whole journey was really fun. So this was my biggest goal that I like smashed this year, and I love it. I did read every day in January, so check on that. I don't know that I'll repeat that goal this year, just because I've done it the last 2 years. It's been good, but I don't know that I feel like repeating that goal again this year. Now we're into the ones that I didn't do so well on. So I wanted to read 6 of the 12 nonfiction books on my shelf at the start of this year. I read 3 of them. I'm pretty sure those were the only 3 nonfiction books I read this year, so that is less than optimal. But I did make progress, and I enjoyed those books, all 3 of them. So I will be putting a version of this back on my goals this year. I did end up unhauling a couple of the nonfiction books that were on my shelf just because I just couldn't see myself reading them anytime soon, and they're all things that I could potentially get from the library if I decide that I feel like reading them. So I let a couple of those go. And then the one I think I might, the one that I'm actually disappointed in myself about is I wanted to read 20 books by Black women, and I only read 9, which is pathetic, honestly. I haven't like looked at the stats, and I don't actually track like race or ethnicity in my spreadsheet, but I'm pretty sure that I had a very white reading year, which is super unfortunate, and I definitely want that to not be true next year. I bought a lot of books by Black women, Black men, or men or women, non-binary people from all different cultures and races, and I read some of those. So I guess it wasn't necessarily that it was, my reading year was like white, but I didn't focus as much on Black authors this year. So I think that I definitely want to expand and keep track of the diversity of my reading to ensure that I am reading from different perspectives outside of my own lived experience. So I think I'll take a good hard look at that in terms of goals for 2024. But I am disappointed in where I landed with that one. And then I wanted to read 10 translated books. I think I only read 3. Yes. Nope. Let me, hold on. Yes, I did. I only read 3 translated books, which is abysmal. I am currently reading a translated book that I'll finish by the end of the year, so that'll be 4. But that's terrible. It's just not good. So definitely want to focus on that some more as well. And then I wanted to like revive the indie press project, and I think I might have done 6 independent press books, and I just didn't track it well in my my Storygraph challenge, because some books that I read I don't think I realized were independent presses, and I didn't at first. I was gonna like pick 6 indie presses and read from those, but honestly I think like just reading from independent presses in general without like trying to pigeonhole myself into specific ones the way we used to do with the indie press project works better for me. So I think I might have ultimately read 6 books by independent publishers, but also like if I only read 6, like that's really low. I would like that to be more, just because I think that I think that and reading more diversely can often go hand in hand, because indie presses tend to have a higher number of books from marginalized people. So I think those go in tandem, and I do want to continue to keep an eye on that and focus on that in 2024. Now, the non-bookish goals. So I wanted to, so for this one, a lot of it was focused on like getting my financial life in order, and for all of those I accomplished them. So I opened a points credit card, which has been great. It's been nice because it has additional perks. So like I get to go to airport lounges, and I get TSA pre-check for free, which I used both of those this year. And then I went on a solo trip. So I went to Asheville and had a solo birthday trip, which was wonderful. I also went to both Columbia, South Carolina and Portland, Maine on my own, which was fun. I did both of those for work, so like not like on my own, but it's still, there were aspects and parts of those trips that really helped me to build that confidence in being on my own in an unfamiliar city. So Definitely this goal I smashed, and I'm really pleased about it. And I have a flavor of this for next year, just because I want to continue to build that confidence. I did also judge the BookTube prize. I judged 2 rounds, and I will be judging again in 2024. That was a mixed bag. So I definitely read some books I really enjoyed, but also read some books that I really, really hated. And I think somewhat that contributed to like my slumpy feeling and like my not wanting to pick up books at certain parts of the year. So I will be doing that next year, but also I need to like keep an eye on my mental health around that, and if it's not serving me, then to just let it go. I also did adjust my bank accounts the way that I needed to be able to move my money around the way that I wanted to, and I started investing more money in my retirement accounts on a monthly basis. So I've set that up. It has been going through, and I have been managing that, and it has been great. And yeah, I actually have found a lot of enjoyment. This sounds so stupid. A lot of enjoyment in like learning more about how to create financial like stability. I'm not gonna say wealth, because I'm like, the 1% eat the rich, like please eat the rich, but like creating a sense of stability financially for my family, and knowing that like I am doing the right things at this point to set myself up to be able to be stable in the future and to potentially actually get to retire. So all of that, thumbs up. Now, anything that had to do with a house project or the pottery studio, none of those happened. So I wanted to participate in 50% of the member challenges. I wanted to throw a certain number of a certain kind of pottery object. I probably was at the pottery studio 10 times in this entire year. It just didn't work out for me. Between the leadership program that I was in, some changes in staffing at work, moves for me career-wise, it just, the mental space wasn't there. Also, 3-year-olds are freaking exhausting. So like, I just didn't make space for this year, and I want to make a conscious effort to make space for it next year. So definitely the pottery studio is something that I want to refocus and go back to this year, but also with very little pressure. So like, not trying to create anything specific, not with an aim to sell anything or anything like that. Just genuinely to have fun and to build up my confidence and skills with pottery. So that, yeah, none of the house projects happened. None of the exercise goals happened. So, and none of the really like planning for family or date night outings happened. It just was, this year was so chaotic. I cannot even tell you. It was so chaotic. And I think, you know, I can't say whether that's going to carry into this next year. I can say that I genuinely have no idea what to expect out of this, because I am going into the new year in a new role at the same company, and it's very different from my previous role. So I really don't know what that's going to look like. Learning that new role and being, you know, just getting comfortable and doing the things I need to do in that. I don't know how that's going to affect me in terms of like my mental ability to like prioritize other things. But you know, we'll get there. And I do definitely want to make a point to spend more time with my family. Definitely this year has been a hard year in terms of actually getting time to spend with my husband, just he and I. So that's something that I definitely want to find time to prioritize, because I think that's really important, and I know it's important to him. And it's hard when your only babysitter is the person who keeps your child like 5 days a week. So yeah, it's just gonna be some of the goals from the list that didn't get accomplished this year definitely are going to be things I want to focus on. I think probably house projects are just like crossed off the list for this year. I will say unexpectedly we were able to get new windows on our house. That was a huge project that we had slated for maybe a couple years from now, but because the prices for everything just keep going up, and we really felt like we could do it. We paid off our car. We didn't really have any things that we had to pay for, like big expenses right now, other than obviously our mortgage. So we were able to do that this year, which was huge. So, you know, in terms of house projects, that was the biggest, and really took the place of anything else we might have wanted to do this year. I think there will be opportunities this year to do some small stuff around the house, just to continue to make the house our own, but not something I'm going to make a goal out of, because if it happens, it's going to happen organically. So yeah, but that's me. That's my kind of retrospective on my goals. I feel proud of what I accomplished this year. The leadership program that I was in was very mentally taxing, very hard, but very rewarding, and helped me to land the role that I am moving into for the new year. So I think in terms of my professional life, it was a big year of accomplishments, and I am proud of that. And I think this next year I want to take time to focus on things at home, and really to reprioritize how I'm spending my downtime, my PTO, all of that. So yeah, that's all I've got for you. I hope that you had good luck with your goals, or had a great year yourself, even if it didn't meet the goals you thought you wanted to meet at the beginning of the year. And I will be sharing a 2024 goals video probably early January. So keep an eye out for that if this is the kind of content that you enjoy. And I will talk to you next time. Bye!